Nigel, you are, without doubt, one of the most bonkers, crazy, enthusiastic, but lovable characters I've ever come across.
We currently run firework business, Galactic Fireworks.
Oh, very nice.
We also do bonkers competitions. I bought a GT3 RS, sold it. Now blacklisted at Porsche. Bought it for 205,000, sold it for 410. I had £175,000 in mortgage, paid it off.
What triggered the want to gamble?
I lost everything I earned. If I earned 200 quid that week, I lost 200 quid. Whatever I earned, I lost gambling. I did anything and everything I possibly could to get this money. Probably shouldn't be admitting this on camera, but I'm going to do. So,
Nigel, you are, without doubt, one of the most bonkers, crazy, enthusiastic, but lovable characters I've ever come across in my life. And I'm so excited that you're sat opposite me once again in the back of my van studio. But Nigel, in your own words, who are you and what do you do?
well, first of all, Ben, I'd like to say, can we finish the interview there? Because it's just leaving me looking lovely. And I don't think I've ever had a man so excited to meet me. But anyway, who am I? Well, my name is Nigel Turver. We currently run a firework business, Galactic Fireworks. We also do bonkers competitions, what my son Harry predominantly does. I originally was still see myself a little bit as this as a shopkeeper. That's what I was. That's what I did. You know, and when I say shopkeeper, a general grocery store selling newspapers, alcohol. Everything you can imagine, I sold in our shop. And when I say everything I imagine, even, dare I say, vibrators in a grocery shop, local shop. I sold everything and anything. And loved it, to be quite honest with you. Worked ridiculously hard, don't deny that. Whereas now, some people now send me messages saying, oh, you deserve these things, you work hard. And I think, no, I do not work hard at all now. In fact, it's more... my thumbs are so flexible because I twiddle them so much.
So the things that we see behind us, we have a Hurricane STO, one of your latest purchases, a Ferrari F8 Spider, there's a yellow GT2 RS around the corner.
That's my baby.
There's an Astra GTE
Mark 1
in the corner. Over there's a Ferrari 458 Spider. There's your son Harry's KN Turbo GT.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
There's the flipping Rolls-Royce Cullinan.
Rolls-Royce Cullinan Series 2 Black Badge.
I can barely remember all of them, but to get to that point, I wanted to build the viewers a picture of what your incredible car collection looks like now. The fact that you've built a home that not only you can wander to work 20 steps in the morning, but come home. You've built the dream life, it seems, what we'd all want. So take us back, though, to where the start of that success started, the embryo of it. What was like your first store?
Well, I completely agree with what you say. When I come home and I look in my garage, showroom, I don't even call it garage, I call it showroom. And I'm like in awe. You know, I'm in awe. I just think, oh my God, how have I got any of these cars? So, and I am in awe. But this all stems, I suppose, from as a child, and then as my biggest, I had no interest in school, if that's the word. No exams, no interests. I was pretty useless, if I'm being honest with you. When I say useless, and yet at school I always bought stuff, sold stuff, stamps, always liked making money. That's the truth of it. I can't deny that because money seemed to allow me at that age to probably buy Easter eggs, chocolates and fireworks. I always had a love for fireworks. Now, if you want to go back to my first worry, I never worried about exams at school because it didn't mean anything to me. My big worry was passing a driving test. I mean, it was like, plus I just thought it would be so simple. If I applied for my driving test when I was 16, because it usually took about then 5 or 6 weeks. So 4 weeks before my 17th birthday, I applied for my driving test thinking, right, that gives me 2 weeks to have a couple of lessons because I could already physically drive. 2 weeks of lessons, I want to pass my test. So confident, and my nerves broke down on the test. I couldn't believe I failed, but I failed. And I failed on the 4th of June. And you had to wait 1 month to retake your test. And I booked the test for the 4th of July. So Independence Day, American Independence Day, once again, bringing fireworks into it, was the day I passed my driving test second time. And once again, I was a bag of nerves. I was so pleased. Anyway, then what's your dream car? Well, they only had £300, so that was the thing. My dad, there was a Vauxhall Cavalier. What my dad lent me the money for, it was £900, which I bought a Vauxhall Cavalier. And then the problem was, of course, insurance, putting my mum's insurance. I've always been a bit of a crackpot driver. I would probably, especially when you were younger, end up crashing it, writing off, and getting stopped by police because there was 12 people in the boot and everything else. But my love of cars and passion of cars was everything, if I'm being honest with you. And before I tell you about my Astra GT story, and I always tell this to people, when I was 17, there was a couple of local lads who had Ford Capri 2.8 injections. Now, I would have at 17, without a shadow of a doubt, signed a piece of paper saying 10% of what you earn for the rest of your life till the day you die has got to be given to something. But you can have a Ford Capri 2.8. I'd have signed that piece of paper. And I would definitely be regretting it now, but at the time, I would have definitely done that for a Ford Capri. Anyway, my other dream was obviously was an Astra GT. This one I've got now is a white one, but mine was a red one. If Mandy was here, my wife, she'd be able to tell you the number plate. A 607 UOP. It got scrapped in 1998, by the way. But that was the car I met Mandy in. The car that when she did see it, she said, "That's not your car, your dad's car." And it wasn't. Also, the car, I'll tell you this, probably shouldn't be admitting this on camera, but I'm going to do. So I earned £50 a week back then, and an Astra GT was £4,000. I saved up. I mean, I did not go out. I did not spend one penny. I was obsessed with saving up for an Astra GT, Part 1, which was £4,000. And I saved £4,000 in 4 months. Now, why not now? Didn't you say you have £50 a week? Well, that's £800 roughly. Yeah. I will be honest with you. I did anything and everything I possibly could to get this money, which obviously consisted of doing probably, how would you put it? Illegal things. Let's put it that way. I'll put it that way. Right. But I was obsessed to get this car. And I did. I'd got the money and I bought the Astra GT. It was I think I was the dogs in that. And I really did. But as the story goes, as I probably already said, drove too fast like a crackpot. When I said too fast, remember these cars back then? You know, I don't know what brake horsepower it had, but probably top speed was 105 miles. I'm saying 105 because I got banned for going over 100. I ended up getting banned in that car, which means also I had to sell the car, which also when I was younger, I was now 18. I like gambling. My whole world was that car. Everything penny I owned was that car. Car worth about £3,500. Sold the car. Lost a lot in one night gambling. The whole lot went. And I don't know how I did it, and I don't know how I did it, because if anybody's a gambler will know, how did you do this? I managed to save £100 for Christmas presents. And to this day, I still don't know how I managed to save 100 because a gambler doesn't normally do that.
So you a reformed gambler these days, or do you still like a
I used to love gambling. I gambled for 10, 12 years, and I've had this question before. Were you an addicted gambler, Nigel? And I would say yes, but a lot of people say no. Why? I don't know if there's an upbringing that my dad taught me that if you can't afford it, you don't have it. And I'd still say it's a pretty good lesson. So gambling, a lot of people will go into debt and mess their whole lives up through gambling. It can be a bad product. I lost everything I earned. If I earned 200 quid that week, I lost 200 quid. If I lost £300, I lost it. Whatever I earned, I lost gambling. But I never, ever went into debt. Never, never. I never went into debt. I never borrowed money for gambling. But I don't know why that was. I just never did.
What triggered the want to gamble?
us. Yes.
Did you have a big win or something?
No. In fact, I bet you have any wins.
Because it's funny.
Do you know, Ben? I go to a casino and let's just say I've got £300 on me. But this is it's the sad part about gambling. I've got £300 on me. I've lost all £300 on roulette. Then you're looking in your pocket for a pound coin. Oh, I haven't got a pound coin, but I've got £1 10 pence in loose change. I've gone to the cashier to check, because they won't take the change, to change that for a £1 coin, to go and put the £1 on the number. Complete addiction. It was an addiction. Mandy will tell you, I've won money before. So before we lived together, and I've given money. I said, don't let me have that money, 700 quid. At 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm knocking at the door. Andy, I want that money. No, you told me not to give you. Give me that money. It's addiction. And yeah.
Was that the hardest thing to get over in your kind of earliest 20s?
Well, as that doesn't sound, I also found poker. And poker saved me, because I've got to have a game of poker for 20 quid, last 4 or 5 hours, and get the same buzz. But obviously you had to get past the Devil's Roundabout, as it's called. The roulette wheel's called the Devil's Roundabout. Unbelievable. If you had all the numbers up on a roulette wheel, it adds up to 666. And I've actually got a full-size roulette wheel in my office. So, and if somebody came to my house now and wanted to gamble, I'd be happy to have a gamble with them. But, let's just, I've read a like 50 quid. So I don't want any more. I don't need to gamble. I think also gambling, you've got this dream of winning, of having money, but I used to go to bed and dream of hitting a number to maximum. And do you know one of the saddest things about this is, I could have been in a casino on a Saturday night, and I'll have been putting half a dozen ponies, which is a £25 chip on numbers. So it's £150 that I've lost it. The next morning, I had to get up and deliver newspapers. Sunday, we did newspaper deliveries. We had lads do paper deliveries on week.
What age was this?
I would say I was 25. Let's say 25. And I had to get up Sunday morning to deliver the papers, because they were big Sunday papers. In my little Toyota Light A-Span I had, big pile of papers, go out and deliver them. And I didn't earn £25 from that job that morning, what took an hour and a half. And yet the night before, it just, and you can say, well, what really stopped you? I'd say we're probably I'd say 28, 10 years, because I think I gambled uncontrollably in a way for 10 years. But when I was 28, we needed a new kitchen. Me and Mandy, we lived in the shop. We had a shop. Again, amazing. It's amazing how a gambler managed to still run a business, because we had to buy stock, or I didn't lose it all. But as I said, I only ever lost anything I made, but never lost anything that I couldn't afford, what needed. Anyway, but we needed a kitchen. And we did need a kitchen. It was right old wooden. They were a mess. And the kitchen back then for a new kitchen was £3,000. And my mum and dad said, we'll buy you a kitchen. And I just thought, that's not what should be happening. And unbelievably from that, I stopped gambling. And now I'll have a bet on Grand National. I can take it, leave it. If I go to a casino now, and I will go to a casino, the problem is the casino cannot give me anything that I'll need anymore. I can't. What can I win at a casino is going to make any difference in my life? Nothing. There's nothing going to make a difference. If I do go to a casino, I will take £1,000, £2,000 with me, lose it, end of it. Don't make any difference to my life. What am I expected to win? What's going to make a next difference? Let's say I won, which is very unlikely. But let's say I won. What am I trying to win? The minimum I can win to walk away with, I think what I'm happy is, it'd be £5,000. And what does it do to my life? Absolutely nothing. So, can't get anything from it. Being in business as well, it's amazing how you lost so much money when it was so hard to earn. Like I've just said about the papers. And running a business, a case of Stones is bitter, it'd be £10.29 at Batley's Cash and Carry. It'd be £9.99 at Nerd and Peacocks. And I would make, right, I've got to get it from Nerd and Peacocks, saving 30 pence a case. I want 20 cases, £6. running a business still had to be watching every penny, looking after it. And luckily I managed to do that. But the biggest, strangest one, I would say, don't let you get any questions in, Ben, do I? But the biggest, strangest one, I would say, was my mum and dad's teaching of if you can't afford it, you don't have it. But I remember having some old carpets, what dogs had peed on and everything. And my dad's out on the driveway cutting these old carpets up. He says, these would be great for my kitchen. And it hit me like a ton of bricks that I realised then that this thing about if you can't afford it, you don't have it. But you can afford it, but you still don't have it. And that was the thing, like, I thought, that's where life's a problem, that if you can afford it, have it. So, obviously, we've done well with business. It's all right me seeing it and saying how bothered I was about working. I had a wife who had exactly the same work ethics as me. We worked hard, long hours. We worked, you see people now and say, oh, we work hard. You don't work hard. And I know I say that. You don't work hard. The only way I'll accept you work hard is you do not have a holiday. You do not have a day off. And that was us. We didn't have a holiday. People say, oh, I went on holiday every week. No, you don't go on holidays. You don't have days off. We open Christmas Day. I loved it. We used to sell like 600 quid of the batteries on Christmas Day. I loved it. So there's that, my eldest son, James, and I always tell you this story, because I think, right, he was 5 years old when we took him to Euro Disney for 5 days. That was the first time we went on holiday with him, and it was like a right big thing, going to Euro Disney for 5 days. And that's why I'd say when people said they work hard, I think, well, you work hard if you don't have an holiday and you don't have a day off. And we did that.
So what age was that at? What age were you at?
These were at the ages probably where we're right up to being, well, what we're in now, what year we're in? 2026. So I'm 60 now. I know people are thinking, don't be silly. Of course, I'm 60 years old. This is another story people might be interested in.
How old were you when James was 5?
Cool, that's a good question. I think I was 26. 26.
Many of you might not know this, but away from the recordings that I do in my van studios, I've actually got a digital marketing agency. Now, we specialise in a lot of automotive clients, but we cover everything really. Our team is made up of PPC specialists, SEO specialists, and the most talented designers I've ever seen, which have done work like the Starnagloss website, the TWR website, and many more. We've actually just built Icon Box for the Auto Alex crew as well, meaning that people that watch their channel can buy their favourite merch seamlessly and in style. So if you're interested in starting a project and you'd love to speak to us, just tap the link below and let's hop on a call.
And that seems to be. So I just want to stopgap it for a second. So I like to have a timeline on things just to get a reference point of where you were at each part of your story.
Okay.
So you were around 26. You at that point had the shop in Good Town. It was starting to move. You were working every day of the year, but turnover was like less than £1,000 a day.
Oh yeah, we had a shop again. What we're doing. Back then, of course, it was pretty good. We did £8,000 a week. You made a 19% gross profit margin because 50% of those sales were cigarettes, where you were making 5-6% on. You had to make more on other things. And I remember my sister was a school teacher and she was earning £12 an hour. And I thought, £12 an hour? Gosh, I'd love to earn £12. Because our hourly rate was nowhere near that, if you know what I mean, if you work the hourly rate out. So again, while we're talking about work ethic and everything else, we had Tuesdays off. Tuesdays were mine and Mandy's day off. She said, well, I thought you said you did 7 days. No, Tuesdays we did 6 till 10. So we did the first 4 hours, papers and got all the shop running. Then we had 10 o'clock where we could go to Pet's Corner or whatever with James, Harry or whatever. And then we were back for the last 4 hours as well in the shop. So our day off, we did 8 hours on our day off. And again, it is what, but all this has happened. I've always understood business. I know that sounds daft. Even when I gambled, I understood there's an income, there's an outgoing, and what's left. And I've always been, I'd like to think I'm very good. A lot of people who know me, so, you understand business. It's not hard. And I know it sounds daft, this. It's not hard. If you have got a house and you're struggling to pay your bills and everything, you'll never be good at business because you've not cut your cloth accordingly to what the income is are, to the outgoings are. And I've always been able to do that. And it is, business is just that, really. This is what's coming in, that's going out, that's what we've got to make, and that's what you have to do. When business is good, so in 1999, I decided, so how old was I then? 66.
That was the year I was born.
So I'm now 33 years old. 99, is that right? Yeah, 33. Millennium New Year. Everybody's going to want fireworks. So, right, let's set up fireworks. But truth is, prior to the fireworks in 99, because that was something I loved, I was a shopkeeper, what discovered a business of cashing checks. When I said discovered it, there was actually a shop in Nottingham called the Money Shop. And I thought, well, I cash checks and charge people a quid. These are charging people 10%. We did check cashing. That's where we made money. That's where I always say to people, it was a bit like winning the lottery. Because we had an income of probably, me and Mandy between us, we're probably earn £800 a week between us doing, unfortunately, we're doing an £80 hour week. But that was our income, £800 a week, which even in today's terms is pretty good for a couple, all right, But that's what we earned. We then started cashing checks. And when I say it was a bit like running the lottery, our life was set up for that amount of income. What car you drove? I remember, again, dream car, buying the BMW M5. The M5 was, I've never paid over £10,000 for a car. The M5 was 20,000. Knew the car was 55,000. And I remember buying this car thinking, who pays 55? I thought I was mad paying 20 grand. Anyway, I'm going to go from one story to another story, but right. So, you buy what you can afford and what it is. Now, we started, as I said, cashing checks, and suddenly we went from an £800 a week income between us to the check cashing, build up slowly because we had to put money back into it. Well, the M5, I'll tell you a bit of a story here. The M5 engine blew up. 10 grand for an engine. And we started doing the check cashing and we were making £200 a week from it. So I borrowed £10,000 from my dad and I said, look, I can afford to pay you £200 a week back. Didn't charge me any interest. Nice of him. And I paid him, I said, look, I can afford to pay you back over a year, which is what we did. But we weren't making £200 a week. Within a period, it went up and up and up. And within space of less than 2 years, we're now making £5,000 a week from check cashing. This is not what our life was set up for. Luckily, I wasn't gambling either. I got control of that, And we'd gone from an income of £800 a week, let's say, to 5,000. And it was like, we didn't know what to do with the money almost. It was like, oh, brilliant. And you do, and as anybody would imagine do, you can now buy yourself, I remember buying a Longines watch at £550 prior to this, thinking, look at my lovely watch. Well, now you can buy a Rolex. Rolex watch, yeah. And now this is another thing. My staff will tell you this. Anybody who works for me, I look after. Way, way above and beyond. And anybody who works for me will tell you this. So back then, we're doing well. Right then, buy him a motorbike, bought him a motorbike. But, I look after. Then it's how we are. It's even, bring it right to this month. There's, business is good. I've given all my staff this month a £15,000 bonus. As some people work for people for 50 years and lucky if they get a grand when they finish or whatever. But again,
why did you learn to be that way? What taught you to be so generous? Is that your mum and your dad?
Oh no. My dad hates if we go to a restaurant, I'll leave a tip. Oh, he'll break his heart. I'm the opposite of my dad. I love, there's nothing I like more than treating people and giving. It's my favourite thing. And do you know something? Social media, let's bring social media into this. Mr. Beast. He's not the original. I am the original. And what do you mean by that, Nigel? What do you mean you're the original? So let's rewind 20 years. When I bought the... Oh, by the way, there's another story. So obviously we lived in a flat. The kids were brought up in a flat. We lived in a flat. We're happy living in a flat. 40 years old. We're now doing all right. I'm buying a house. Never had a house before in his lives. And I bought this house where I live in now. So that was 20 years ago. We bought a house. My first house, a lovely house. I love it. Love living in a house, I'll be honest with you. One of them things I always thought, if it don't work, we'll go back to living flat. Once I had an house, I'm not going back to flat. But when I bought this house, this was my first mortgage. So I've now got a mortgage. The person who sold it me went to Canada and left me a Mercedes S-Class with the house. Not an expensive one, worth £3,000. I'd also decided, because I've now got a mortgage, and at the time I had a Porsche Cayenne. So that was a posh car still for me back then. I can't have that anymore. Now I've got a mortgage. I'll have this old S-Class, £3,000 anyway. Didn't work out for me. I couldn't live with it. So 20 years ago, I decided to sell this Mercedes S-Class. Worth, by the way, when I was selling it, £2,200. This is an amazing story, by the way, I'm going to tell you that. This is why I'm the original. Right. This car's worth £2,200. I've now got a mortgage. I have to think about money a little bit more. Didn't earn the money I earn now, by the way. Guy comes to buy the S-Class. Right, doing a bit of a deal. Right, we agree on £2,000 for a car, but it's got a number plate on it. What I want to keep, and we have to go drive to Sheffield to take the number plate off, because that's what you had to do back then, because you DVLA office. And we're driving there, and this guy's just set up his business, and it was an Indian chap, actually. And I like him. He's just set up his business. So I'm going to do you a better deal on car. Oh, I thought we'd done a deal. I said, no, I'm going to do you a better deal. I'm giving it you. I'm going to give you the car. What? You can have the car. He drove away from here thinking he was on some sort of TV program, Candid Camera or something, thinking, has he just give me this car? But I give it him. Just give him the car. So I help him out of business. That's before any social media. So I wasn't trying to get some views or looks or clearing up social media then. I gave him the car.
Was that giving you the same buzz as you got from gambling?
No. Just like, no. No, gambling was always, I want the money. Giving money is giving it. And do you know that car I gave away? So Mandy came home, obviously that night, 'cause Mandy was still working. She comes over and said, did what? I said, give him a car. Give it him. She said, look what we've got. I'm looking out the window thinking, we've got a house and all that. We've got a house. She said, we know we've got a mortgage. She said, and she was, I'll tell you what she did say, and she was correct, Mandy was correct. She said, you shouldn't have given it him, Nigel. We've got friends that what could probably do with a little bit of money or help, whatever. And what you should have done is knocked him another £500 off. Made his day. He absolutely loved it. And she was right. That's what I should have done. But anyway, I give it him. Also, to this day, 20 years later, I've always expected a man coming to me gate saying, oh, I've got a great business now. Thanks for what you did all the years ago. Never heard or seen of him since. I've got no idea who the guy was. And that's a little bit of a... I'd love to know who it was. Love to know who it was when I get this car too. But again, all these things of sitting here talking about cars and having all these dream cars now. And once again, going back to this, and I wouldn't say to people, this is the way you must go. When I say, if you can't afford it, you don't have it. I sit here in a lovely position where I have no mortgage, paid off. By the way, I paid my mortgage off because obviously I didn't buy a house to afford it. I should have had a mortgage till I was 65. How have you paid it off 5 years earlier? Well, the answer to that one is I bought a GT3 RS, sold it. I paid £205,000 for it. I'm now blacklisted at Porsche, which I'm happy with. I don't mind. Bought it for £205,000, sold it for £410,000. I had £175,000 in my mortgage, paid it off. So I have no mortgage. Also, all my cars, Lamborghini, Ferrari, Porsche, Astra, Rolls-Royce, no money, no finance. There's nothing owed on nothing. I don't owe a penny. That's a good fit. I mean, but I'm not going to sit here and say, don't buy a Ferrari if you can't afford it. What I would always say to someone is, because I used to have car finance. I always used to have car finance. I was part of buying a car. But I said, do not get into negative equity. So if a car's, whatever it is what you pay, let's say an average nice car is 30 grand. What's that 30 grand? Only bought it 20, 22 grand most. You know, so you never, don't ever be negative.
Leave yourself some headroom.
Yes, that's what I'd say. But I don't think there's anything wrong with borrowing money on a car.
When was your first, oh my God, car purchase? Because I've seen photos of you with like Ferraris outside your old shop, etc. Where was your first, like, the same thing as what you described as buying your first house, but with a car?
Ferrari 355. Because everybody dreams of a Ferrari, I would imagine. Well, anybody who likes cars does.
They did up until today, but they released their electric.
Oh, yeah, we're doing this on the day that Ferrari have launched the most. By the way, it's a pretty good day today because my FA is definitely worth £10,000 more today than it was yesterday. I had to check my date today. It's 1st of April. It's got to be 1st of April. I would imagine they're not going to build that car. They cannot. It's like...
It's horrendous, isn't it?
It's unbelievable.
It's nothing like the one that you had to begin with, which was a 355.
So I'm living in a shop, remember, in a flat above a shop. We're doing all right, though. We're doing check cash.
This is before you bought the house.
This is before I bought the house. Obviously, the dream's a Ferrari. 355 Ferrari. There was actually a Ferrari dealership at Sheffield at the time where you go and look. Obviously, you normally go look at windows. You look and you dream that. I know it sounds daft. I never looked and dreamed and thought one day, because I was always content with what I had. I was quite, but I still thought, gosh, wouldn't I you'd love to have one. I never really thought I'm going to work hard to try and get that, because I didn't actually think like that, if I'm being honest. I've always been, anybody who follows me on Instagram as well, I only do Instagram, I ain't nothing else, will know I'm a little bit of a strange person. I don't watch YouTube videos and all that. Ben, you come here today and I had a look on, you interviewed some people. I'm quite honoured and all that. I don't need nothing. When I say I don't need nothing, I'd say I need my wife predominantly. Then I need my kids and I need staff. When I say staff, I don't like using the word staff. We work together. Just like, I have a hate for boss number plate. Boss? What do you think you are, boss?
Or CEO plate.
I just don't like it.
There is a journey, I'm convinced. I don't know if you see it up here. Lads do well, get their first R8, but then immediately get a CEO plate on it.
Well, Ben, I'll be honest with you, I didn't actually know what that meant. So, and I still actually don't, man.
Chief Executive Officer.
Oh, right. Well, I didn't know it stood for that. I knew it stood for you're in charge or something. No,
but I get what you mean.
Yeah.
It's just a bit too...
I thought, if you're a boss, buy yourself a decent number plate.
You bought yourself a Ferrari before the house.
Let's get back to 355. So, I'm buying this Ferrari, £70,000. I say it's to Mandy, what are people going to think about me with this Ferrari? I'm just a shopkeeper. What are people going to say? And I'm thinking, remember we're going back as well to a time when I feel as though they're everywhere now. Or maybe I'm mixed with a group of people who have all got Ferraris and McLarens and Porsches. But back then, nobody had a Ferrari, or very few people. And I said to Mandy, people are going to hate me. They're going to throw eggs at me and call me every name under the sun. And I was worried about that. I genuinely was worried about what do people think about you. Driving a Ferrari. I know it's my dream, but, let's get the wording right. A lot of people will see a Ferrari and look at that rude word, driving a Ferrari. And I used to say, I'm going to get a double barrel shot, because he's not just look at driving a Ferrari, look at that fat driving a Ferrari. Anyway, I said to Mandy, and once again, Mandy says the best things to me ever in life. She said, what's it matter what people think? Anybody who knows you, Nigel, knows how hard you worked. And she said, that's the only people who matter. Anybody who knows you knows how hard you work are. And she's right. And she comes out with sometimes, and we're talking 2 years ago. She come out with one, what? When I said this, I'd lend somebody some money, £5,000. I got ripped off. And I came out of my house and I'm stood at the step and I said to Manu, when am I going to grow up and learn to stop doing this sort of thing? And a lot of women would have said, yeah, you stupid idiot, Nigel. I could have had a new handbag out of that. I tried not to cry you. She said to me on the step, she says, don't you ever change. Don't you ever change the person you are. I walked over to my office. I just thought to myself, you're worth £5,000. See, my wife said that to me. Don't you ever change. And I love her. I mean, she's my everything. She looks after me. She's an amazing woman. And anybody who knows her knows this as well. Her life is to look after me and her children and now her grandkids. Even I'm gobsmacked because I thought I wasn't very good with my kids. Won't deny that. This is another little thing you could say with the obsession of working that I had no time for kids. I didn't have time for them at all. Mandy took them to football. Worked all the time. I won't deny it. I also like working as well. That's another little thing. It wasn't like, oh, I loved working. Maybe because it was a feeling of winning. Working wins by giving you a monetary reward. So I'm getting that now instead of gambling. I'm getting the monetary reward from working. And I'm also a massive, I'm a massive thing when people say money don't buy happiness. And that's another one where I really say, pardon, money buys happiness. Doesn't guarantee it. Doesn't guarantee your health. It doesn't guarantee your kids aren't going to get run over next week or your grandkids are going to have wonky nose and all whatever else or whatever. But money buys happiness, takes so much relief off you. You don't have to worry. I don't have to worry. I don't have to worry about money. I'd quite be happy to go backwards. So if I didn't earn another penny now, he said, well, you're going to retire. I said, Jesus Christ, I've got £1.5 million of the cars. I couldn't spend that.
It sounds like the check cashing for you was something that was like, oh my God, I've won the lottery. This is insane. So you're on an upward trajectory.
Yeah.
Between that upward trajectory and now, have you had the doof moments? No. How have you saved yourself from them?
Well, the reason I've never ever, right, Ben, I know I'm 60 now and I don't work or do very little. I'm going to say this again. I don't work, do very little. Probably do a 30-hour week, right? Which to me is not working. Why has that not happened?
Have you always has it on the radar that life could change at any point?
Well, yeah.
So we're going to go into it.
Self-viewers.
How you've pivoted since selling fireworks to doing what you do now with Bonkers, where you do both together.
So do you know what, Ben? If fireworks get banned next week, Bonkers has new rules in, well, we do something else. And whatever else we do, I might be a little bit, I will be different now than what I was even 10 years ago. So that's when I was 50. That's when I've definitely changed an attitude of life. Like I was saying, I didn't take my kids to football. I thought I'd be better with my grandkids. I really thought I'd be a lot better with grandkids. And I'm not. I'm not good with them either. I'm not good with kids. Mandy's amazing. Sits down, plays in the flowers. So she'll be downstairs, but I'll go sit upstairs in my little room watching telly. Not good with kids. Maybe it's something I never learned to do.
Were you excited to have kids?
No, it seemed to me that's just what you did.
Has it?
Unfortunately,
but you now work with Harry and have this bond with Harry like you wouldn't believe.
Again, I talk about Mandy saying, if Mandy got cancer tomorrow, give it to me. I mean, sorry, get emotional again. Harry's a similar thing when, I'll tell you a thing I said to Harry last year, which I don't think I could say a better thing really, if you know what I mean. And that was, I said, out here, and I said, do you know, Harry? I said, most children aspire to be like the dad if they admire the dad. Some dads are probably not good. I've not been the best dad on bringing him up and taking him on holidays and playing with him. But I've always taught. I know it sounds daft. the household, what we were brought up in, had a religion. The religion was work. It's still a religion now. Harry will get off people. You've only done this because your dad's put money into it or whatever else. No, he has to work. He has to do a minimum of a 50-hour week. If he don't do a 50-hour working week and put the effort in to make sure that business works, nothing to do with how much money you've got. It's making it work. Now, thing I was saying is last year I went to Harry and I said to him, do you know, Harry, a lot of children aspire to be like the dad. Sorry, let me say this. I aspire to be like you. You are my hero. You are. He is the most honest. Do you know me? I told you when I was younger, I did things to get money. Now even I think sometimes someone come up to me and say, I've got this. I don't know what, because I can't even think of anything these days, so it's not happened for years, but I don't know, let's get a big telly. 2,000 quid this telly, I want £1,000 for it. But, I would say, why? Is it stolen? Oh yeah, I'll have that. Harry wouldn't. Harry's got no interest in anything that's not straight. And I love him for that. I think it's brilliant. He's just the most honest, hardworking man I know. That's my son, Harry. Love him. He, I'd take cancer for him. I'd die for him. You can't support that. I have thought this though. If there's Harry and Mandy fall off a cliff and I've got to save one, I'd chuck myself off. I don't know, but that one. Now, all this talking about my son Harry and how...
Which is the allocation system at Porsche and buying the next one and having to buy a certain car and all the rest of it. And I know that I'm speaking to someone that knows that world inside and out, because you're one of the top customers of Porsche United Kingdom, one of the top customers of your local Porsche dealership.
Definitely.
Many years. And when I met you, you were well and truly in your Porsche phase. You orange Porsche after orange Porsche after orange Porsche. Tell me about where that started. And has car purchasing, and especially that side of it, ever become an addiction?
No. Well, I've never been yes, I like cars. Now, with Porsches, they have a system. They have a game you have to play. By buying normal cars, you also, because you're a good customer, and the system's correct. And a lot of people say, why can't I get one? Well, look, you're going to reward your best customers. So the best customers get the GT cars, but you've got to buy all these other cars, which is fair enough. The way I see it is, I bought all these other cars, made a load of money on the GT car, probably evened out. There's not as much as you think there's a big game.
So we'll talk us through where it started with Porsche for you. She talked us through your first Ferrari.
I think with Porsche, I did have a 911 I'm trying to think, did I have a 911 before I had a Ferrari? Can't remember. But, of course, people like cars, Porsche to me, I still think Porsche cars. Why? I think there's a number of reasons. The build, you can hammer them, they don't break, or break the least. It could also be there's a dealership. Where's my Lamborghini dealership?
Did you become obsessed with the idea of getting an allocation for a GT car?
I'm a businessman. Reality. So as much as it's right, but hang on, you can buy because remember, cars, all my life, my dad, everybody, right, waste of money, cars. How much money are you going to lose on cars? All this money you'll lose on cars, which pretty much I've always done. Always lost money on cars. That's the reality. Always lost money on cars. Oh, hang on, if you want to use GT cars, you don't lose any money on them. And sometimes they're worth more than you pay for them. Really? Well, I thought, well, I'm a good Porsche customer. I'd buy a new Porsche at least every 2 years. We swap this one. We buy a new car at least every 2 years. I'm a good customer. Oh, no, you're not. Oh, no, you're not. Good customers buy 2 or 3 cars a year. Really? Yeah? Oh. Right then. Harry, you've got to have a Porsche. Man, you've got to have a Porsche. I've got to have a Porsche. and we need to swap them every year as well. So and that allowed you to get I had a GT3 RS, which then Porsche, and I completely agree with Porsche as well. It's not like I'm against them, that, okay, they let you have this car, but you've got to let them have it back to sell it where they have half the profit. Well, it's fair enough. Everybody's doing all right. I mean, I think that's a good enough deal. Yeah, fair deal. And my Porsche dealership worked on a system. You got points. You got points for buying a car. You got points for having finance on a car. You got points for selling them back to them. Very, very, being honest, a very fair system. It was. But to get up there, you've got to buy lots of cars. You've got to have finance on cars. If you don't want finance, you've got to have a bit of finance. You've got to have, when you're done with it, sell it back to them. Even whether it's a Cayenne, Macan, let them have it back. So you play the game. It's a game. Nothing wrong with playing a game. But, as I said, they have the car back. Now, I personally head up at buying 3 Porsches. Right. Everybody's going to have Porsches. When I'd like a Ferrari or I'd like something else. Right. So when I got the allocation for the 992 GT3 RS, it was like, wow. It had a Speedster as well, which was supposed to be going to be worth all this money. And it wasn't. They do all right, don't get me wrong. Like, they were 30 grand more than you pay for them. By the time you split it with Porsche, let's say you make 15 grand. It's nothing, it's all right, but it's nothing to get overly excited about. Now, the new 992 GT3 RS is out. I'm getting one of the very first ones in this country. £205,000 this car. Get offered 410. Right, what do?
Who offered you that? Porsche dealership or a private individual?
Another dealership would got a footballer who wanted the car. Who's going to pay them $450, I'm guessing, for it? Now, another thing, I don't do things underhanded, so to speak. I'm not going to say, right, Porsche, I sold it secretly. I phoned Porsche Sheffield up and said, look, this is what I'm going to do. Well, you do it, Nigel. We can understand it's your car. You can do what you want with the car. But you won't get another GT product. You know, we're not happy about it, but there's nothing we can do about it. I said, but, well, I know, but I'm still telling you this is what I'm going to do because it's only fair. So I'm not going to secretly, you know, I'm still want to be, I said, you know, that's what I'm going to do. And there's nothing they could do about it. But they explained to me, yeah, you'll be blacklisted. You won't get another GT car. I said, oh, I'm not bothered. I'm not bothered because I want to sell this car. The only thing I owe money on is my house. I paid my mortgage off. So anybody who says, why do you do it? I paid, right, there's another thing. You see all these, you know, podcasters, Rob Moore, love Rob Moore, by the way, borrow money, you know, don't pay a house off, don't, you know, but the feeling, paying your house off and having no mortgage outweighs, I'm not, as much as I like money and I need money, I will cut my cloth accordingly. If I ain't got the money I've got, I'll drive whatever I can. I will probably always have the best car I can afford. Whether that's a Nissan Qashqai or a Ferrari, that'll be what I drive. But yes, paying your mortgage off is not half. Anybody who says, oh, put money into this, no, pay your mortgage off. You feel amazing. It's the most nice not to owe money on a car or to owe very little maybe, because when I say very little, I have thought about having a car finance. Andy King from Apollo Capital, you know, I'm big enough for you, right? He's such a nice bloke. And I think sometimes, do I go and borrow £1 million and get a 918? Because this is my dream car. And then I think, what are you talking about? What are you thinking about? What are you talking about? I've got 2 sons, I've got mortgages. I've got Jason, who's got plenty of money, by the way, but he's saving up to buy a house. He want a mortgage. He's just paying. I'm thinking, no, if you're not having no car. In fact, sometimes I think GT2 RS sat there. Get it sold, pay your son's bloody mortgages off, let Jason go and buy a house he wants to buy. And you could say, well, why don't you do that? I do. quite a lot. When I say you've got to be a bit careful, you always want to treat your children. Anybody who says, oh, no, you want to help them. Also, you try not to spoil them. So let's just take December last year. Some of these numbers I come out with, to some people, are nothing. To other people, and I think to most people in my world who I know, these are obscene amounts of money. To me, because I'm, you go to petrol stations, people can't put £10, they put £10 of petrol in, they haven't got 50 quid to put with petrol. So when I come out with a number for this, like last year, I give both my kids, I wanted them to have £150,000 bonus at the bank, which means because of tax purposes, I've got to pay them £300,000. So I give them as a bonus last year, £300,000 wage bonus, which, unfortunately we have to pay tax on it, but obviously they're left with whatever it was, 155, whatever it was. And that's already, I think, spoiling them. It's a pretty big bonus, which I do, but, I don't know. But I think Harry owes 80 grand on his mortgage.
But to get to a place where you're able to have so much free cash in the business to be able to do those things or to look after those people, you've obviously learned that you need to be making margin left, right and centre. The last time I came, you just set up Bonkers competitions.
5 years ago.
And you just set up Bonkers competitions. And the fireworks, ever since beginning to sell them, had been the biggest part of your life, right? The biggest part of your business. Talk to us about the size of the businesses now.
But Ben, this is where the big, I would say. So I'm a shopkeeper selling newspapers, everything I could possibly can, alcohol, I sold everything. In a little shop, I got everything in that shop. Well, but then you cash checks as well. Oh yeah, but then we also did mobile phones. Boys had more straight. Then all we did fireworks. So doing all these things. Now the problem is you've only got, no matter who you are, I'm going to say, you've only got a 60-hour working week if you work hard. You've got to put your 60 hours into whatever's making the most money, really. So as a shop, when I was selling milk and bread and potatoes and things, hang on, I've got to stop doing that because I can make more money doing the fireworks. So the fireworks became the business. But it's seasonal. But I've always wanted other strings to bow. Like, we've got a few flats and properties we rent out as well, which gives you an income. But the fireworks then was the check business, by the way, was going. Checks were vanishing, that disappeared. Like a lot of businesses, they can do very well at first, but which they were. Check cashier was brilliant first, charged 10%. Brilliant, everybody come with checks. More and more people do it. Your 10% comes down to you now charging 4%. By the time you're done with 4%, and you've got probably 2% overheads. So when we were charging 10%, you made 8% gross profit from it. When we're charging 4%, we're making 2. It didn't just go from 10 to 4. It went from 8 to 2. Really, because we couldn't avoid the overheads. That they were always a 2%. Anyway, that business disappeared, and then because we do fireworks, what else do you do out of season? That was the thing. Now, you might have known from past when Harry decided, we'll try selling a few car cleaning products. So our friends Nick from Young Car Detailing said, right, how do you sell that? We'll give you commission, all that. And we were selling £1,000 of car cleaning stuff a week, making 20% on it. So we made £200 a week. Now, £200 a week as a sideline, it's all right. It's a sideline. Not a job. It's not full-time, but it's just not, is it? £200 not. But it's a good little sideline. What else are we doing? We had time on his hands. Anyway, one of the things was, we did it with fireworks first, and we thought, right, we'll let people win on fireworks, which in turn then led to Bonkers competitions, which, once again, Harry said, we were doing kettles and toasters, and dream was to do a Rolex watch. That was the dream. We obviously very excited when first time we did a Rolex watch, so we can win a Rolex watch. And we've now done over 1,500 Rolex watches on Bonkers. Cars. Not so many toasters anymore, if I'm being totally honest with you. But we've done a very good job, I would say, at Bonkers. But I'd also, that's because Harry is very dedicated to that job. As I've already said earlier, he wants things to be right. We're very honest. Because that's for, is it real? Unfortunately, we can't avoid it. That sometimes people say, well, he won last week. He's won 6 Rolex watches. I've been playing for 3 years. I've never won nothing. Well, that's because reality is they put more money on. Another reality is people...
Without naming any names, what's the most amount of tickets someone has bought in monetary terms for a competition
One
prize?
draw, £20,000.
There's people out there spending 20,000.
There's one particular guy, well, we'll spend £5,000 every week, yeah, £5,000 to £10,000 a week. There's a couple.
Is it gambling?
It's a form of gambling, right now, and that's why you do. You don't ever want. I don't want anyone to get into trouble for it. Which we don't. But then, don't get me wrong. There's going to be new rules and regulations coming for people doing this because you see it. There's loads of people doing it now.
Does it make good money?
It's become a bigger business than the fireworks. We sell. My firework business is hard work. I mean, it's hard work. At the season, we're pulled out with it. We're working. You're selling a firework, an average customer spending £300. You've got to pack it or deliver it. Everybody wants them in the same kind of window. And it's hard for a period of time. I always say we do 4 months hard work, 4 months normal work, 4 months of doing nothing. Now, Bonkers is all the time. And obviously, don't take me to, it's not no secret. What does it sell every week? Oh, if you go to Bonkers, you'll see we have 3 draws a week. Tuesday and Fridays are live draws. Sundays at the moment. This is what we do at the moment. Sundays is an automated draw. Well, when you put a Rolex watch up and you can see, well, the watch is £30,000. You've sold 30. Well, we've obviously sold 30 grand. Plus there's other things. Well, work it out. You think, well, hang on, they're selling £250,000 of the tickets a week. £1 million a month turnover. Afterward, I don't have to tell you that. Quite easy, just do a website, you can see it. And I'm very proud of that. Very, very proud of what we've gone from a...
And even at 20 or 30% gross profit, you're generating big amounts of cash.
It's not that high. Fireworks, for instance, I won't deny this. People buy fireworks on me, I'm so sorry. But it's a good profit. Good profit. And once again, when I say it's a good profit, but we have to run all year round. We have a 70,000, we have a restore at Lincoln. It costs us £70,000 a year storing fireworks. You think, what's that work out? 1,500 quid a week just for storing fireworks. Cost of explosives. You can't just put them in some warehouse that corner. Everything's awkward with fireworks. And you've only got a small window to sell them. So the profit margin has to be high. Again, I'm not embarrassed to say this, really. We double our money on fireworks. Somebody buys £1,000 versus £500 gross profit in it. All right, that's a good earner. You sell a grand worth and make 500. No, we make 10%. We're down to 10% after the overheads. We make 10%. Oh, now what, you sell £1,000 and make £100? Yeah, that's what we really make. Can't avoid storage, wages, can't avoid it. Bonkers, on the other hand, bigger turnover, much lower profit margin, a lot lower. There's still a profit margin. Of course, there'll be items where we lose money. That'll always happen. Overall, though, you're trying to make a profit. Of course, you're trying to make a profit. The number of people I see setting up competition sites and losing money, actually losing money to try to set it up. I believe this with any business. It's irrelevant what business you're doing, whether you're selling cars or whether you might be selling cans of Pepsi Max. You've got to work at it, and you've got to sell, because how much did I make this week selling cans of Pepsi Max? Nothing, because I don't sell cans of Pepsi. That's not my job. The job is Bonkers. A little bit of my job, not a lot of my job, but I still have to. This is another thing. they're sailing the ship. James and Harry sail the ship now. James sails the fireworks ship. Harry sails the Bonkers ship. But I'm still the captain. But I'm downstairs now in the galley, just eating food, enjoying myself. Every now and again, I just have to check to go in the right direction. And I think that's probably how it is these days, to be honest with you. Plus, I don't like stress. I don't like stress. I don't like hassle. And there's always problems. The business has problems, has hassle. And I kind of don't want it, don't need it. I've always been, this is another word what I can't bring into importance in people's lives is contentment. You could say, oh, look at you, Saturday. Contentment. Got all these fancy cars and your house paid for, and I'm having a swimming pool built at home, and brilliant. But me and Mandy were content when we lived in a flat. We couldn't believe we had a Toyota Corolla. We couldn't believe the day when we had a shared car. Dave Sturgeon, Mandy shared a Ford Focus. The day my wife Mandy, we bought a brand new car. Remember, she's lived her life. She's from a council house. She's always wanted a new bike. Never got a new bike. Was right alive. It was something she wanted. So the day we could buy we turned up at a car place. I said, a recycled car. And I said, there was a number plate, what kind of said Mandy, an M6NDE. And I said, we'll put that on Focus. And we pulled up and there's this number plate on a Ford Focus, not Ford, on this BMW. Yellow BMW, by the way, Dakar yellow. £18,000 this car was at the time. And we pulled up and man said, that number plate's on that car. Remember, this is my second favourite day of life, right? And I said, oh boy, car and all. We sat in that car, me and Mandy. Definitely 20 minutes, maybe half an hour. Couldn't get out of the car, I was just crying his eyes out. After a brand new car. They're amazing. Remember, cars are probably worked out something I love.
Why was that? What got your car obsession? Because it's not only the cars you love.
As a kid, playing cars.
It's track obsession as well, isn't it? You're mad into your racing and track days.
I do love it. But that's because, Ben, anybody who knows me, anybody's been on a track day with me, it always was fun if I turned up in a fancy car, big fat bloke. Oh, look at him in his fancy car. By the time I got on track, anybody who were in, because I like people who can drive, right? They might be in a Renault Clio, but they can go for it. There'll be people in, let's say, a Turbo S. I'll go on a track day. There was something in a GT3 RS. Should just leave my Turbo S for dead. But no, it's me overtaking them. I've told you this, and I don't say it lightly because it's a fight. That you come on a track day, and would you say you're a good driver? No, I'm a very. And I said that. We went on a track day the other week this last week. We don't do much of it now because Harry's too busy. And it's a shame because it's something I love. But we went on a track day to Donington, and I must have I know I'm in a Turbo S. He goes, it's because a car. Give me a slower car. I remember Toti Harris once overtaking a Turbo S and thinking, does he feel embarrassed? I'm in a Toti Harris. Anyway, GR. So when I went to Donington last week, so I overtook 300 cars. No one's even come close up behind me. So how's that work then? And I have to say, anybody's been on a track day, bigging Harry up. Pretty we went to Blighton a couple of weeks back with javelin. We like these javelin days. And I don't really like going out with Harry. And I don't. Because I like to think how fast he's there. But he's got an ability. And anybody who's been with him, so many people have been out with him and said, why ain't he racing? He's got some real natural ability, I think. And simply because he got 100 grand a year, he's busy working, he's got to keep me in my lap of luxury. But for instance, when we went to Blighton, I'm in the Turbo S. He was in a Cayenne Turbo GT. And I can't get rid of him. He's up my arse. He reckons, and I've let him pass. But anyway, that's another story. I went out with him in the Turbo S, and even I was like, I was scared. But he seems just to be able to do it. He's got some sort of and anybody who's been out with him will tell you that. Anybody who's been out with him, can drive. People go out with me and think, you're a fast driver. Go out with him. You know, I'd challenge him against any of these, buddy.
You had a scary moment on track?
I've come off so many times. So many times. Harry's never come off. That's the other weird bit. I think, I've had so many, Ben. I'm aggressive. I'm aggressive. I'm trying to go smash the car or go. You know, my favourite one is at Croft. Honda Civic Type R. We've got this Honda Civic Type R. Right then, Harry, come on, then. I'll show you how to drive this. Get in. He gets in passenger seat at Croft. That is the one up north, isn't it? Off I go straight down this and I'm trying to show off. So obviously I was fast as I can. First bend. Straight off into hot stones, all in wheels, all making noise. I think, you know. And the best thing was, and Harry said to me, looked at me and said, thanks for the lesson. You know, and I remember again, going back, he always says to me, this was again at Cadwell Park, actually, this one. And he'd bought an A45, his dream car at the time, his A45. And he were in something else, and I were in his A45, and he's coming round, and all he could see were with me in A45 spinning round, going into all grass, and when we pulled in, there was grass between wheels and tyres.
It's entertaining.
I probably do push. When I say push cars, I don't drive like that anymore. Really, if I'm being honest with you, just like when you get older, you can't drive like that. It's a natural thing. You can't.
Do you worry about taking out the value of these cars anymore?
Yeah, the Taurus has become a garage queen, which is a shame because mine's got Manti racing, brakes, disc, and suspension, which. Again, if you're taking your 2RS on a track, makes a massive difference. I mean, such a difference. That car should come standard with that. But when you do take down a track, it's like playing a computer game. The accuracy of the car, the speed of it, the power of it, it's scary, but it's an unbelievable car. Harry says, in the 2RS, bring any car you want, even an SF98H, which, by the way, is an unbelievable. It's hard to race anything. So I take anything on. That's how good that car is. But then again, the great news in the last 6 months, these cars, because I've had that 5 years, that car, and it was always a car that, so, you know, first of all, I'm not really buying cars to make money. It'd be nice if they don't lose money. But the 2RS has been stagnant for 4 years. It's just stayed at the 300 to 350 value. This last 6 months, they're £500,000. I'm like, that's all right, you know, but it'll never get sold. The Taurus is the only car that never gets sold. The F8 is the most. If somebody wanted a supercar, what looks amazing, it's a Ferrari. It is so comfy and yet ballistically fast, 700 brake horsepower, rear wheel drive. There is no better car. You know, someone like us all get pissed. No, they're hard. My 2RS, took you out in that, by the time you get up to roundabout, some road, let me out. Oh, it's solid. It's solid. It's horrible. F8, so comfy. Such an amazing car. STO, it's the sound of that. And then you could say, right, okay, Rolls-Royce Cullinan. I never speed in that. I know it's just you shouldn't be speeding any car. It's very hard in some of these cars not to speed, but the Cullinan, just a waft, just a big fat waft, probably suits me. The Turbo S cab I've got, 992 Turbo S, that's just a problem. The F8 is amazing, but you can't use it daily. The Turbo S you can use daily. Just the ultimate all-rounder, I'd say, the Turbo S.
Is that what you drive the most?
No.
Cullinan.
Yeah, Rolls-Royce.
Have you still got a Urus?
Right. So, someone asked me actually yesterday, if you only had one car, which car would you have? They're like, I don't own it. I don't actually own it anymore. I don't have it. Oh, it was actually my grandson. I said, I don't own the car. If I could only have one car, what car would you have? Lamborghini Urus Performante. Performante because it looks fantastic. I'll be honest with you, I was thinking, why do people buy Performantes? Because they've got steel suspension, whereas the other Uruses have got air suspension. And the steel suspension on the road is much harder. but it looks better. But I suppose like buying a GT3 Porsche over a Turbo S. GT3 looks better, but it's an everyday car. It's not the right car. Performante is not really. You'd be better off if you're not going on a track with it, which most people will not go on a track with a Urus. Probably don't need a Performante. Well, you shouldn't have a Performante. Now, I had the normal Urus and went on track with it, and unfortunately, pushing it, the air suspension goes. It's not good enough. Got a Performante, never went on track with it, and I should have done. And I don't own a Urus. But if I had one car, it'd be a Urus. Just such a, I mean, everything about it, the build quality, all the Alcantara, it's still also a Urus. You're not going to avoid this. If you're buying a £250,000 car, it depreciates so little. Because, what do you mean? I'd say that car in first year will lose 35 grand. What? On a 250 grand car, losing 15% in first year is not a bad result. My Cullinan, for instance, probably loses 50,000. It's got to. Again, I have this from people where they say, how much does this car cost? How much does it cost? I think, well, you don't understand it. Often they don't understand it. That Cullinan, I paid £405,000 for. Second hand, it's £500,000 new. I paid £405,000 for it. If somebody were going to buy that next week from a dealership and say, oh, I'm putting £105,000 down, I'm going to borrow £300,000. The £300,000 you borrow at 8%, what's that? £24,000 interest. You buy that by, you think, well, hang on, what's that? That's £408, £60, £70 a week interest. I've got that right, huh? Yeah. You just think, it's just the interest on 300 grand. You put 100 grand down. Luckily, I don't have that. Because I don't have that, I just have the depreciation, the big one. Grand a week, £300 a week, let's say for everything else. But that's why, again, because I'm on Instagram, can you do us a prom run? No, first of all, I don't want that interest. Please don't ask me. I don't do them. If I know you, I might do it as a friend for nothing. But I put them on straight away because they say, oh, we'll pay you what it costs them. Don't run on a tin of petrol. The biggest expense is depreciation. So I'll cover my costs this week then. In fact, I don't say 30. I say it's £2 grand. Oh, well, £2 grand to do a problem. Yeah. These things cost fortunes. A lot more than people realise. Which is understandable.
But with things that cost fortunes, in terms of cars, which you love and you love driving them and wringing their necks, watches, which you also love and have become a massive part of your business, really, with Bonkers competitions.
Absolutely.
And you have a stunning, what have you got on there today, sir?
Well, this is
A Daytona.
I wear this every day.
Blue bezel.
Probably shouldn't say that, I might get mugged now. But this is my Platinum Daytona. So this gets worn every day. It's scratched to death because I wear it every day, even though I don't do a lot of physical work these days. But I wear this irrelevant one. I mean, this gets put every day. But it was my 60th birthday 5 weeks ago. Even though this is the more expensive watch, my wife, Mandy, bought me my dream watch. I had one of these before, but they're a bit flashy. But it is my favourite watch in the world, of any watch. And she bought me a Yachtmaster 2 in gold, which is a much cheaper watch. It's a £30,000 watch, still an expensive watch. But that's my favourite watch. But I saved that one for best. So you wear an £80,000 watch as a daily, but the £30,000 watch is my favourite as the best. Yeah. And I do it, yeah.
You made a joke about getting mugged then, but that was actually a really scary part of your life. So there was two moments to me that I remember back from following you, which was one of you running down your very, very steep drive.
That's right. And smashing a window.
And putting your hand through a window of a car that had come to rob you.
That's right.
And you went straight through the back windscreen.
And then I went to the side window trying to smash that car, aren't you? My hand's all busted and bleeding.
And the other one was a story about a group of guys that broke into
The house.
your house one night. So which one came first?
The driveway. I know I'm 69. I'm very, very unfit. But again, being brought up in a shop, by the way, we have shoplifters and things. I wouldn't say I'm a fighter because I'm not a fighter. But on a couple of occasions, I've had to fight customers. They're not fucking. I remember once I was actually upstairs and on this intercom, there's a particular guy in shop, and get that fat bastard down here, right? Whatever. And I wasn't sure if they wanted Mandy or me, but it ended up with me. So you go down and they want to fight you, and go out show, and it's happened. And I'm only saying that I am definitely not a fighter, but I will. I do have I've always said this. I've got a dark part of my heart. There's a dark part. I don't know that everybody has a dark part. I actually don't know that, but I know I've got it. I have a dark part where it's almost part where you think it fades as you get older. As you get older, you don't need it, or you certainly don't go to it. You talk about that Golf. I remember in my Toyota Lightace van with Mandy, going back to when I was 21, she was 18. And I said, right, I'm going to kill us both in this van. And we both got jammers on, and temper again, smashed the windscreen in that van, in my van, just smashed the windscreen in, temper. And as you get older, your temper definitely fades. Once, even my own son James, and he says, I don't want to speak because you can lose it. And once we were supposed to have some money. What my dad, again, obviously it was addiction. My dad had saved £1,000 a year for 10 years. He got this money. What we're always to help him buy a house, and I said, don't you dare touch that money for drugs or whatever else. And it's still there. And then I didn't believe him at this years later. And so, right, we're going to bank. I want to go and see. I'm taking you to bank now. I want to see that money. And yeah, it's definitely there. So we're getting car. We're going to bank. Not where there. It's not there, Dad. Bent it. Middle of a dual carriageway. I just fucking, sorry, I swear at it. Put brakes on, handbrake on. Get out. Just stopped him at the dual carriageway. Get out. Keep your, honestly, with temper. Which I like to think everybody's got a bit of a temper, and I definitely sometimes road rage, where you just think, what on earth? But as you get older, it goes. But I also know it's there still. There's always it's under, I like to think it's completely under control, but I also know if somebody came to steal my watch, for instance.
Which they did that day.
Well, even now, I'm going down fighting. I mean, I am. I'm not. People say, give it me. I know I can't. I just know I can't do it. I'll stick your fucking... Sorry, I'm getting a bit annoyed here because of how it gets to me. And I know I'm right. So if he stood there with I know me telling me, stick that fucker in me. Because I'm still going to fucking... Sorry, I'm swearing and all that. I'm still going to fucking lamb you. I think that people have that temper,
And
nice.
do you think they came that day in broad daylight? 'Cause there was four of them in a Golf.
So there's many people here. So that was the thing. Oh, hang on, there's people who, because...
So you don't think they'd case the joint out then?
Don't know. Remember, we've had worse than that. I've had worse than that. People again say, oh, I've had burglars. I like burglars. Burglars piss off when they get disturbed. Remember also, this house now is like Fort Knox as far as cameras and that, because we had an attempted someone to come and tie us up. We had that, where they were going to tie us up. We've had an attempt at that.
And you don't think it was the same lads?
Oh, no, definitely. I thought there was a car I'm driving, was it? And then there's three blokes with torches on, balaclavaed up.
And was that in the day?
No, night time. 2 o'clock in the morning.
So you had the one first, which they turned up in broad daylight, they were all at work. Did you just think they were here for a delivery or something?
Well, hang on, I had a delivery last week from Amazon, and I had Amazon phone me up to say, complaint from the delivery driver. Why? Because the guy who came his wife's in the thing, but I didn't know at this point. All I've seen is a car pull up and they've got a mask on. She's got a mask on. And again, I'm ready. We don't, again, I know you've probably seen on my Instagram, we have we are quite security conscious now, even more so. Room fills up with smoke, direct farm to police. It's brilliant, that smell thing, by the way. If you've not seen them, they're amazing. The whole room just fills with smoke, and it's like, you can't see anything. Brilliant. Because you can't stop that. You know, obviously at night where there's all alarms on, and there's this, they take to what phones everybody, and, you know, but we've not had anything for it's over 5 years now, not had anything.
So the second one, which is obviously the one
that's the bad one.
So talk me through what was going on, because you're obviously, as you talk about, you're at peace, you're happy, all the rest of it. So I'm picturing, you know, not a care in the world, happy in bed. What happened?
Always been conscious of burglary. You know, I had a shop. We got thieves. I've been ram raided. I remember at that time I had 2 big Rottweilers. But again, I thought man did tell you so upstairs. But anyway, ram raid. I was doing newspapers at night. At 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm marking newspapers up. Ram raiders come, but it didn't work for them. But anyway, so I've always been conscious of burglaries, theft. Always I've lived in that world of that. But again, here, when we lived here, the house wasn't as protected as the office. So, because it was my house, I didn't want cameras watching it and doing this. Obviously, since that happened, and again, I also say this, very nice that we were able to spend 6,000-7,000 quid on security. What happens if that's somebody else and they haven't got that money to spend on security? You know, maybe they don't target someone who's not got, you know, they're targeted. They didn't come to burglars. They came to tie us up. And I even know a story of a friend of mine, because obviously this has happened, where they cut her wrists and said, you've got 30 minutes or she'll be bled out if you don't give us whatever we want. So we don't, I know I'm not saying this to put people off. So we now don't keep things, we have it, we don't keep things of real value. I've got this on my wrist, but I mean, we don't keep things, anything extra. You know, like people have watch collection, whatever else. We don't keep them here. You know, if we've got an extra watch, not here. Can't have it here. We've got it's called a safety deposit box at called Metro Bank, I think they're called. So anything you've got, put in there. Because it could happen again.
And you think that's what it was for?
And it was that. I was very lucky. They ran away. 3 of them. Mass. All white men. And I'll bring that into it as well. All white men. And you know what I said about me, you can have a dark side. On Instagram now, you can't really have opinions and tell people. There was a bloke this week on roof doing, I think, shoot him. Oh, you know, I said, that's a shoot him. I mean, shoot him, I don't know, knock him, you know, to me, they're just a waste of time on society. So, those 3 men who broke in my house, someone could say, oh, you've got some mental problems, Nigel, because you give me a knife now, I could quite have stabbed. Yeah. We had a problem. And that's 5 years later. 6 months I didn't go to bed. We're up every night. We're still, it's over 5 years now. 5 years on, even though we've got all the security system, Mandy still locks every door in the house at night. Every night. I said, you don't need to. And she still does. Every door at night. It affects you. And it's bad. Those people who do that, you know, you can say and say, oh, I could quite happily. And I'd be at court once and say, oh, you bloody murdered my lad. You know, shouldn't be in my house doing that. Simple. And this government, this world we live in, you know, this week there's some kids being killed, but nothing's happened, and yet someone puts a tweet on Facebook, they get 2 years in prison. It's like, what? I do actually hate the government. I've never actually said the word hate. When you say you hate somebody, that's a strong, horrible word. And I think, is anybody you hate? I hate them 3 men who broke in my house. I mean, I hate them. I could stab them to death. And for some reason, I've got hatred for Keir Starmer when I see him. I can't stand him, I think. I'm puzzled at the man. how he lies and said, it's pathetic. How, and I do actually hate the man, which is really strong. But yeah, him and the burglars, they weren't burglars. Again, there's a big difference between burglars, as I said, than someone who would. And
I want to bring up something completely different. Your relationship with food. Because we've spoke about your relationship with gambling, your relationship with cars, your relationship with money, everything. I want to talk about your relationship with food because you are very prominent on social media. And over the years, you've been the target of so much abuse when it comes to...
Ben, I don't get a lot. And it sounds daft to think I get... I actually believe...
Well, I checked a video this morning, which was Britain's Flashiest Families on YouTube.
Okay.
Which is a Channel 5 documentary.
Oh, no, someone said...
And there was some hate under that video,
okay,
etc.
I don't get much, Ben. And I mean that.
Does it affect you?
Always affects you. When someone tells you that's... listen, this is the thing. So, of all these things I've just been about, cars and all that, gambling, whatever else, food's my favourite. Oh, food's top of the list. You said to me, right then, no more food or no more cars. Which one's going? Cars are going. I thought you said you absolutely love cars. Of course, no, but I love every aspect of food. I love the going out for it. I love the thoughts of it. I enjoy eating it. I say, yeah, well, that's why you're bloody 25 stone. You know, I would do. This is again. Would you swap your? If you said to me, take your GT2 RS with £500,000, we'll have that car, but we'll guarantee you'll be 20 stone for the rest of your life. I'd do it. So you're willing to give £500,000 to lose 5 stone? Yeah, but without no, I don't want the effort. I don't want the someone telling me.
Which is crazy because you put so much effort into work. You put all those hours into a working week.
I know. I'd love to be 20. Just so you know, right? So this is another one. Slimming World. No, Weight Watchers. I've done everything. Weight Watchers. What do you mean you've done everything? I had my stomach out. 12 years I had a gastric sleeve. I had my stomach out. I ate 30 stone and I lost 10 stone. I had my stomach out. But I've stretched it back a bit. I still can't eat massive. People think I can eat massive portions. I can't. I can eat and then I eat again. Also, I do very little exercise, which is a problem. Now, okay, what about these miracle jabs? Oh, I beat them all. Ozempic, Wegovy. I'm still on now. I go to chemist. £300 a month for these jabs. I've been on them 8 months. Good at chemist. You've not lost any weight. Out of 160 people, Nigel, you're the only one who's not lost any weight. So I know, but it does stop me putting weight on. So I'm still on them. But in fact, someone said to the other day, I lost £3 on them. What, for 8 months? Yeah, but I put it back on. So it's not really. I lost £3, put £3 back on. So even on that.
When did you get into the culinary side of things? Because you love food to a degree of Michelin star dinners, restaurants, everything.
Child. When I went to school, I love school dinners. If I were come home for school dinners, why? Because chemists sold Farley's rusks. I'm like 14 years, yeah. Packet 9 Farley's rusks. Remember Cup King Paler. I love food as a kid. I was a fat kid. The fat kid then. Unfortunately, when you get 16, 17, you want a girlfriend. I never had a girlfriend. Well, when you're going to get a girlfriend, you're going to have to get fit, get in shape. So I had to join Gateway Gym. All I ate was tuna fish. Got myself down into quite a fit body. I'm being quite honest with you. You wouldn't, I'll put a picture up. 12 and a half stone. I used to weigh 12 and a half. When I met Mandy, I weighed 12 and a half stone. When I got engaged to Mandy, was engaged or married? One other. I don't know which one. I weighed 17 stone. And then, obviously, went up to 30 stone. Had my stomach out. Got down to 20. Stretched it back a bit. Love it. I love going home and I like my own world. And I don't need, because obviously I get it from people saying, have you watched this and that and other on YouTube's? No, I don't watch YouTube's.
Which, to be fair, I think if you did, you'd discover a whole new thing you love, like food. Personally.
Do you know, Ben, that could be the next thing. But I don't have to get, I like it on a big telly. And I don't have to get, it's on my computer. I like it on a big telly. I've got Sky, I've got Disney, I've got Paramount. I watch all them, and I like my Sky. And I sit there at night, and then get my crisp out, chocolate. I've got everything all on hand in my little fridge and my drawers. And I'm happy in my own little world, just like I'm happy. We're on about contentment. I'm happy going to Tenerife. We love going to Tenerife. Yet next Sunday, we're going to Dubai, we're going to Maldives, we're going business class. It's cost us £31,000 to go on a 2-week holiday. I'm not just saying that. You never spend that on a holiday. I like cruising, to be honest with you, but and I'm looking forward to it now. I'm worried sick about it. We're going to be all right. I'd rather, if I could swap it tomorrow for a $7,000 Tenerife holiday, I would. But I know where I'm going and where I'm happy. I'm happy in my own little world, and
which is insane for a business owner. Because to put back a second, happy in your own little world is not what you'd expect from a serial entrepreneur that's made millions in business and bought some incredible things. But you said when I got in this van, and sometimes it's okay to have things that kind of fight each other as opposites. Ben, the biggest firework dealer in the UK. Have you ever had that desire to go and open stores in London, or go and set up a business in Belgium, or go to America, or do whatever?
I can't because I'm bothered. Right, it's another thing. I've got a friend who's got businesses, and he's happy that they all run 80%. I don't want that. I can't have that. When I was a shop, I was an amazing shop, by the way. As a shop, selling milk, bread, everything had to be straight, everything had to be clean. I was very good at being a shopkeeper.
Obsessed.
Yeah, actually to that level, obsessed. That we're good at it. So doing fireworks, why are we the biggest and best firework and I don't just say the biggest, the best firework retailer in the UK. We sell the best product. I know the product. I know fireworks. I know that we sell the best fireworks. Correct price. Online, you have to be correct price. Even though people do not clued up on price of fireworks, it's competitive. We have to be correct price. Then we have to give the best service. There's always problems. When I say there's always problems. And if you said, well, look, I strive for 100%, never going to happen. If we get 99, and when the 1% goes wrong, do everything in our power to make that right as well. We're bothered about it. I'm bothered. I'm bothered about being the best. Always have been. So it's like with Bonkers. So Bonkers, we're not the best. It's big companies out here, way bigger than us. I'm bothered about being good at it. Actually say I want to be the best still. The fairest, the correctest, do you know when someone wins on Bonkers, right? Let's just take this as a little, for instance. Someone wins 11. Someone wins now an instant prize, 11. So Mandy does all the payments for Bonkers. So I'll be put on Monday. Someone's just won £500, put that in the bank account. Now, we can do it, that it'll go through tomorrow. But for another, I think we pay another 50p, pound, whatever, to do now. We do it now. It's done now. People get the payment. Anyone who plays Bonkers will know. You get the payment straight away. This also goes to fireworks, for business. I'm known in the firework industry. I'm known in it. You send a bill.
Pyrotechnics, that's what they're called.
I'm pyrotechnician. You send a bill today. I'm known for this. You send a bill today. Don't get paid next week. Get paid today. We're very bothered about. You could say that's to our suppliers, but then to the customers as well. That we want to. I want to be good at whatever I do. And if I'm not good, if somebody comes up, does a better job than me at fireworks, they deserve it. They deserve it because I'd actually let them have it now, if you know what I mean. Once I let them have it, go back 10 years, that I'll work more and harder to make sure we are there. Don't get me wrong, I think in this modern world, my problem was I will work all them hours, whereas my son James will work out, well, hang on, it's a bit like there used to be a business card I loved. And on this business card, when you pass it, I ain't got time to see them because they're too busy fighting a war. The war's been fought with bow and arrows, but the salesman were trying to sell them a machine gun. You should listen, And actually, that's a bit like me with James, that I'll do all the work. I'm too busy working not to listen. Hang on, we can put a system in place here. What saves, you don't have to do 10 hours because it goes down to 1 hour. Which is definitely something what you have to look at these days, maybe. But my thing is, I'll work harder than anybody else to get to it. Well, I won't do it now.
What's the largest amount of fireworks you've ever sold or display you've done?
Well, we don't do displays. When I say we don't do displays, we still do a couple a year because I like them. Not because we want to make money from them. Right. But this year, we're not doing them. We're packing completely in. That's simply because, again, the modern world, we did a display for Christmas lights last year, and one kid got some embers, burn a coat. The whole family now is claiming this, that, and the other. And it's not just a simple thing of saying, oh, this burn. They ain't come out of the house anymore. Suffering, scared. You just think, people claim for anything and anything they can now. People are not fair and decent. So we're going to pack it in. I know it's covered under insurance, but I just don't want to get in. I don't need anything in my life anymore. I don't, really. Me personally.
Don't like stress.
So no, so we don't want to do it. So we're actually going to pack in displays this year. Even though
but in its heyday, where there's some mad ones.
No, we haven't got time for it because we're so busy retailing them. We haven't got time to go out at night. People want firework displays around bonfire.
Because people may think to end up with this scale of cars that cost this much money, you have to do a £200,000 display here or a £100,000 display here.
There's no big customer that doesn't exist. There is no big customer. Do you mean?
New Year's Eve?
There's no big customer though. We haven't got a big customer.
Like London.
No, we sell consumer fireworks category 3. London will be category 4, which is display fireworks, predominantly bought from different companies, but Celtic Fireworks, for instance, in the UK is the biggest supplier of Cat 4 fireworks. These are Cat 4. Often you don't buy a firework, you make a firework kind of thing by mortar tubes. You put a shell in it. They're firing them, they're firing candles, they're doing them to music, all that sort of stuff. We sell fireworks where probably someone spending up to £3,000. So our average customer spends £250. That's because the reason it's that high is you go to our website and think, I'm going to buy 50 quid of the fireworks. You're not buying fireworks from us. Why? Because unfortunately, there's a £30 delivery charge. Because they're explosive, because they're in the courier. So we have a minimum order online of £100. Then 100 to 300, I think it's a £30 delivery, maybe 25 actually. £300 plus is free delivery. We subsidise that then. But there is a limit to what you can spend. And some of these fireworks now are big and expensive. £400 for one firework. Big, 30 kilo. It's amazing. Last 5 minutes. But someone will want some bonfire, wants a 20-minute display. So let's just say they need 4 or 5 of these type of things. So a couple of grand. A pub or a club, let's just say, is doing a display, will probably spend £1,500 to £2,000 to get a good display. But customers up to £3,000. Above 3,000, you're rare. You become rare. The customer spends between 3,000 and 5,000. I'd say we've got 20. That's the most. I'd say we've got 20 customers. Because you've got to be really into fireworks, and it's almost unnecessary to go to that value. You're just making it more wow. Remember, this is stuff they sell themselves. This is not Alton Towers, Welby, or London Eye, where it's 250 grand. It's all done to me. So the 3 to 5 grand customer, I'll say we've got 2 dozen. 5,000 to 10,000, which is someone who's going to be really into the fireworks. Three customers. 10,000 never spends more than £10 on fireworks. Happen. But why are you? If you're on a £10,000 budget, you're getting a professional firm in, come and do a proper display. So we don't have any big customers. No, there's no big customers.
So have you always relied on volume and also selling from home?
Do what? Sorry? Volume and
selling from home. to be quick, to be on it, to be able to do the deliveries.
We're running from here, but I suppose ideally we wouldn't be here, but there's limits. Here, for instance, here, we can only store 2 ton net explosive content fireworks, which is about 20 ton. So we have a limit here. So we only keep 6 of these. So something what we might sell 300 of, there's only 6 here. It's all stored at Lincoln, which I've said is that thing what costs us 70 grand a year for storage. So one of my jobs this season is fetching out from there. That's what we do. Because we can't store it here. We just can't, it's not got the storage. And you're not allowed more storage. Because you have to have distances. Everything else. There's always problems with fireworks. What you're allowed, what you're not allowed, nature of the product. There's going to be a shortage this year of fireworks. Just tell you that. Get your orders in early. The reason, there's been an accident in China. 37 people killed in a factory. Stopped all production. We're going to have a rocket shortage for this year. Luckily, we've got lots of stock, so we won't be short of fireworks.
Will fireworks exist forever?
I think if anything stops it, it'll be the environmental side of it, because you're just setting these things off, creating smoke, and then you're left with a big cardboard box to be destroyed. They've got one use. That's the weird thing. They've got one use.
What about the animal brigade and
that as well? But I don't think that'll stop the fireworks. That'll just be people moaning. As I had to load that Lamborghini onto a car trailer the other day to go to Lamborghini. So he came to pick up 7:30. Didn't read or anything. Just drove off, neighbours out, got head out the window. They said, what are you doing, making all this noise? People will always moan. People moan. People moan about fireworks. It annoys me a little bit because I completely get it. Why would you want suddenly, now you sat there, boom, boom, boom. I always tell people, if you're having a firework display, tell your neighbours. Tell your neighbours you're having a firework display so they know it's happening. They feel as if they're almost invited. I don't set fireworks off here. I don't set fireworks off my house.
for years.
Apart from New Year's Eve.
You always talked this whole podcast about breaking money down into months or weeks, yet you've got a business there that probably made most of its money towards October, November, December. Was that always really hard when you were in the heyday of that to modulate the rest of the year?
Oh, absolutely. It's only this last number of years, let's say, things like paying your mortgage. I've no longer got whatever the mortgage was, £1,500 mortgage. So you go back only, let's say 10 years ago. 10 years ago, the number of, see this watch, what we're in now, I won't have this watch on. Well, I've had to sell it. I need money because I've got to buy fireworks and work has to come first. That's another little thing we've not put. It's all right wanting these fancy cars, whatever. Put work. I've always put work first. Work has to come first. You don't have no fancy cars or fancy watches if you're borrowing money for your business. No, get rid of these things. The number of times I've had a bit of gold, I've had to sell it, I've had to sell this, I've had to sell that because I needed the money. It's happened all the time. It's only lately, this last, paying mortgage off things and not having any car finance. You could survive. You sort of buy the cars, yeah, okay, I'll accept that. But we're what they would call a cash-rich company. We're a cash-rich business. We don't borrow money. We don't owe money. If anybody wants to buy a Ferrari next week, he can, for Bonkers. We don't have to start thinking, where we're going to get money from. You just bought a Patek Philippe watch only last week. 70,000 pounds for Bonkers. Don't say, can we do it? We can do it. And that is an unbelievable phenomenon. I've even said to Eddie, you don't realise how lucky you are to have that you can buy stock. Most businesses run on they have their invoices and they've got to sell the stock to pay their invoices. We don't have that. Fireworks. All my fireworks, I've probably got £1.5 to £2 million of the fireworks. All paid for. I don't owe any money on them. If we sell a packet, so do you know how people, I've had actually for myself that, you talk about negative comments. I don't get many, but someone says, when you go bust or something, I think, impossible. It's impossible for me to go bust. I can't go bust. If I sell a packet of sparklers this year, I can manage. It's all paid for. I don't owe any money. I don't owe any money on fireworks. It's all paid for.
How many staff have you got now?
Don't know. Full-time staff, we have 8. Oh, and then there's me and Matt Jackson.
Which is still a big bill to cover every month.
Do you know you say that, Ben? At the size of the business, 8 staff doing a over £15 million a year turnover. Very good. 8 staff for that. Very good. Which is.
Did you learn, who taught you turnover, vanity, profit, sanity?
No one taught me that. I think it sounds daft. Do you know how I said about gambling? Losing money, but I need to know, got this money for that money. I had to, that's this thing that's like trying to work out what money you've got. As a kid working out, you've got this. I used to, love Guy Fawkes, penny for Guy, and you got right, I've got this to buy that and whatever. I know it sounds big-headed, but I find business very easy. That's what you mean? But it's so easy. Here's a business. This is what it costs. Don't miss out the expenses that you've got a box, you've got a roll of sellotape, you've got that, you've got this. James was actually doing, we don't have to send smoke grenades on a 1.4S. So we don't have to send them through a specialised courier or else deliver them. So James did £9.95 delivery. It cost us £12 to send them. I said, right. She goes, okay, can you subsidise the £2? No, it doesn't cost £12. Jason's got a packer. We've got that. We've got a sellotape. We've got a box. The box where you'd use is £1. I said, it costs us £18 to send them out. And someone can buy 3 smoke grenades for £18. I said, it doesn't work. It's the most basic, simple maths. There is a product. People will fall for this, but I used to say to someone, sunglasses, I'm going to start selling sunglasses. I always use this one because I use it. They cost £1 and we sell them for £10. So when you ask the question, the cost of £1, stand for 10, is that a good business? And people will always answer, it's a brilliant business. I only sell 1 pair of sunglasses a day. I've got to pay for an office. I've got to pay, well, how's that a business? Because it's an atrocious business. But you initially think, oh yeah, you're buying for £1, Sam, that's brilliant. Oh, you've not asked me how many we're selling, what his overheads are, what his advertising is, what electric bills are, what this is, vans. We have 5 vans, which I'll be honest with you is a bit of vanity, if I'm being honest. I like my vans, just like I like cars. Love vans, by the way. In fact, we've got 2 brand spanking new crafters, which I picked up in March. And I've nowhere to put them, so they're actually where we stored as fireworks. Sat there for 6 months. They've not done any mileage. They're both brand new, just sat there. 4-wheel drive ones as well.
What is the most important decision you've ever made in your life?
Important?
That without, maybe you wouldn't have stayed on such a solid path.
It's not an important decision. It's something that I thought I was in love. So I got married. I thought I was in love after I knew a woman for 83 years. I thought I was in love. I thought that's what love was. But then years later, you realise what love is. That it's not that passion. It's not, fancy you. It's having someone who is there for you. Basically, I know it sounds daft. Mandy wants me to be happy. Whatever it takes for me to be happy, she wants me to be happy. So if I say I want to go to Las Vegas tomorrow, she don't want me to go, but she wants me to be happy. So she says, I want you to go. My job, I want her to be happy. I know she don't want me to go. And I want to make her happy. So we have to come to some compromise. Do we go? Do we not go? And that's life. Working that one out. Her priority is to make me happy. My priority is making her happy. And everything else is bonus.
What is your next bonus? What's one thing that you still want to accomplish?
I ain't saying it because I'm not bothered if I don't get it. I'm really not. But if you said to me, again, it comes from money.
It's a 918, isn't it?
It's a 918. A 918. That would
What
be
will that do for you? Is it a sense of validation that even with everything else, you can go out and get the hypercar?
The validation, I'm way past validation. I mean, way past it. Buying again, it's not that long ago since I bought a Golf Orange 911 Turbo, not even an S. What, 100 grand, I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, is that mine? Like when I come home and there's a Lamborghini, Ferrari, GT2 RS, even Astra GT in there now. Way beyond my dreams already. And you know.
So why do you want a 918 too?
Don't want it enough to give up. You know, as much as again, right, there's another thing, Ben, here, is I'm 60 years old. Always been overweight. So that was my target. I can get to 60. That's my target. I've hit my target. This is a bonus now. Not because some people say it's a bonus because they've had cancer, they beat it, or I've lived my fat life. I've got to 60. A week before 60, I thought, don't you have a chuffing heart attack this week? I've got to 60. I've now Googled what obesity knocks off your life. It knocks 9 years off your life. And I thought I would live till 84. So I've now decided I'm going to live to 74. That's my new target, 74. It'd be wonderful to get there. I worry, again, if you talk about worries in life, I worry about dying and leaving Mandy. So now she'll be without me. I think we never think about Mandy dying first. That's another thing. She does exercise, keeps fit, eats healthy. She does all these things. So, but that's another thing. You just because you presume that. Mandy's mum, for instance, was 48. Is an healthy woman. 48 or 49, let's get it. I'm 100% sure. She got an headache 6 months later. Well, no, actually, she lived 12 months actually. With brain tumor. Dead. 49 years old, dead. That could happen to Mandy next week. We don't know these things. I don't know how I'd cope. I know it sounds tough. I would like to die at the same time, Mandy. But as a joke wise, I'll take it as a joke, right? But I love to say this to people. When we lost a dog last time, get another dog straight away. You feel as though you're cheating on your last dog, but you don't have to take pressure off. And because of that, I always say to people, it's a bit of a joke, if Mandy dies, I have every chance I'm going to be taking my new fiancée to her funeral. And Mandy laughs at it. And that's how I said, I can't be without a woman who looks after her. I can't. And she laughs at it a bit. I said, yeah, it's true, don't you worry. And it's only, yeah. And that's, I always said to people.
So finish me off. Why do you want that 918 so much?
I don't want it that much.
Will you get it?
Probably not. Because there's too much money now. And the only way I could have it is borrowing money. Because, well, let's say the one next week, it's £1.5 million. And they're more than that now. But I did think about buying one not long back for £1.5 million. I would have to borrow £1 million. I love not owing any money. Great. So, does it matter that, it goes up in value? What am I going to do? What's the plan? Go up in value to sell it at some point. What are you going to do? Don't do it anyway. And the justification when, as I've already said earlier, that my kids have got a mortgage, that Jason wants to buy it out, it would be wrong. It's almost wrong now that I have these things. But then again, for instance, Asher works for us. He's picking a new car on Friday. I own electric. I own that i5N, the company car. Makes the sounds of a car, supposedly. And it's got 640 brake horsepower. And it can take it to Donington. Like this. It'll be an interesting car. It's question like that. Again, maybe I shouldn't say this on here because we're at doctors. Sometimes I say sometimes. It's all right saying this, that, and the other, but I've always suffered from anxiety and depression.
Which is not what you'd expect from a character like.
No, exactly, but it comes. Mandy will know when it's here. Mandy will know it's here till you're all right. Because I can't control it. I don't like opening mail, for instance. I've not opened mail for 30 years. What is it? What do they want? I don't like lying. So there's another thing. I don't like that we have to do things. I don't. If I'm not hurting anybody, I think let me get on with whatever I'm doing. But then there'll be some. Well, you can't do that. At Lincoln, every 3 months we've got a set of steps. We've got to fill in a form now to say they've been oiled and checked. I think set of steps. I don't know, bloody rules and whatever. We're all a bunch of pansies now, aren't we? Everything. But go back to the anxiety and depression. So I want for nothing. I want for nothing. It's what I say now. I don't want it. If it could have it, I'd have it, but I don't want for it. Ferrari, Lamborghini can go, but let's go back to this. So I want for nothing. So why sometimes you get up in the morning and my blinkers just go like this? And I'll give you an example that I'm not a football fan, but I've started watching Match of the Day. That next morning, to watch Match of the Day, blinkers have come on. What on earth? What have I been watching? 11 men kicking a ball against 11 men. My head's like, it's just pointless. There's no point to it whatsoever. It's like, stupid, not kicking a ball. There's all these people watching it. And I'm like, it's pointless. But everything in my life becomes pointless. Cars, they're pointless. Is it that nice going on holiday? I've all just look at, everything becomes pointless.
Is that your dad creeping through?
No, but I don't think my dad suffers. My mother always was my mother died last year and I had messages from people. Oh, we're sorry to hear about your mother. No grief whatsoever. None. Not an ounce of grief. You shouldn't say this about your mother, but no love for her at all. Comes to Mother's Day. Why? Like on Mother's Day, well, I can't send her a Mother's Day card. They always say nice things. My mother never said a nice word to me.
Why?
You're fat. You're bold. Do not dare pick us up in that Rolls Royce. Anybody sees us in that. Just so embarrassing. Just a bitter woman. That's what
that must have taken a lot to repress that.
I think that's one of the reasons I wanted to prove.
So many people would struggle and get sucked into that because they say if when you're around a certain mindset, you become that way. Yet you're almost the complete
sometimes
opposite.
that can be horrible. Sometimes I see my mother and me think, why? It's horrible.
Why was she that way?
Do you know something, Ben? I've no idea. But because my mum and dad were workers as well. So that's probably what I got brought up to be, the work. And I don't know if it's because that they retired very young as well. My dad that's why I had to the shop. My dad had an heart bypass, 50 years old. So he retired at 50, which was weird because I thought, what they're going to be twiddling, what are they going to do? They always work, but they were all right. But then they had a caravan, and I think they enjoyed going there. My mother never said a nice word to me. Never said a nice. There's a fact. Love my dad, by the way. My dad's great. He's unbelievably tight. I mean, levels that you can't even comprehend. The carer comes, and this is like now. And before they come, he removes toilet flush, so they can't flush the toilet because you don't want to waste water. You don't want to flush that toilet, so it's probably had 2 shits in it because you don't want to waste water. There was boiled kettle, for instance, and filled it with water, have a cup of coffee. I all that water in for. They come now. There's no hot water because you don't put it on. You only baths. Well, you don't once a week at best. His level of tightness which is probably why I'm quite the opposite. Because like even last week we were in Dinnington and there's a card shop and he's going to get a card. I'm not going there. They're a lot cheaper down the road. They need some business. They need the help. Local business. Give them some trade. Give them a bang. I'll buy a £2.50 card. I'm not paying that. I said, considering you were a local business yourself, but no, I can't. And it is unbelievable. I mean, his levels of tightness are levels beyond what.
Who did you see as an inspiration growing up to know that you could be different?
No one. I think anybody.
How did your eyes get open? Was it just the luck of the cashing checks and realising that there was another way of doing things?
From school, I'm a kid, I like money. Because money got me sweet, you could say at that point, to buy food. Let me go to a fairground and have a hot dog on a ride. I always liked money. Unfortunately, I spent the money. It was another thing there. I'd give me money. You give me £1 million tomorrow, I'm buying an I1E. Well, yeah, I probably would buy my own. Provided everybody else is okay with that. Because I also think anybody else think go first. But that would be I like spend. I'm not a saver. I'll be oh, do this, do that. No, I'm not. I don't worry about that saving bit. But I've never worried about business. It's very easy. I don't know what you mean. It's very easy to put a working week into practice, and it's very lucky to have some money to back that up, whatever you're doing, whether you're opening up a pizza stall next week. Right, that's what I want to do. You put the working week into that. It might not earn what I earn now, but I'll try and make it the best I can of that job, and it'll earn whatever it earns. And that's how you go and earn money, isn't it? I buy into. Also, I've got 2 physical shops. What? They're not good. They're not. If you said to me now what business would do, whatever that business would be, it was something online, serving to people online, where it'd be definitely online business. I'm dreaming of having a physical shop. That wouldn't happen. Whether that be, even if my mate Thomas, he's got sells lobsters and things from a fish stand. But no way I'd have that. You're limited to what that customer base. People say to me now, "Oh, it'd be fantastic if you had a fireworks shop in Bristol." So I've got one. You want to have you? I didn't know that. Yeah, I say I've got internet. Got internet. We deliver everywhere.
Nigel, your story is unlike many others I've ever come across, and how you've got to where you are through so many turns in the road and all sorts of ups and downs, left, right, and centres is amazing. You did it through sheer determination, gutless, and growth. Well done, and thank you for coming on Road to Success.
Thank you very much, Ben, for having me. Much appreciated.